Are you trying to make yourself feel better by buying that beautiful dress you saw in the shop window, even though your overdraft is already pretty high? Or maybe you're constantly working, you're always working too many hours and really are close to burning yourself out. Or maybe you're digging into another packet of nachos or opening that bar of chocolate simply because you want to feel better. Well, it's such a common way of coping with inner pain that you are probably ignoring or trying to ignore because it is simply so painful. And the first coping mechanism is usually to distract ourselves and to find things on the outside to make ourselves feel better just for a little while. Yeah, does it sound familiar? Then this video is for you. Hey, hello, I am Cummins. I am the owner of this channel, Living Life from Love. And I am all about showing you how to love yourself so that you can really improve the relationship with yourself, and by doing that also with all other people. So my intention here is to help you to feel loved as you are. And this example I've just shared with you is really based on the lack of loving yourself. I mean, most of the time. Of course, I don't know you personally, but I certainly have done all those things because the pain of being alone and the pain of not feeling loved, there's kind of a hole inside of you that you cannot fill, and it keeps on coming up, and it just simply feels like lack of love. So it is a very, very deep wound, and a lot of people have it simply because of the way they came into their life, into this life. And I've just worked with a client who actually was kind of separated from her mom as soon as she was born because her mom fell ill and couldn't really look after her. And so as the little baby who was seeing her mom there next to her, but her mom is not doing anything, she felt not wanted, she felt not loved, and she felt very, very alone. Even though her mom was lying next to her there in the bed, but she was so ill she couldn't look after her as a baby. And this kind of lack of bonding could come about in different ways. I mean, I was, for instance, only three weeks old when my mom had to leave me with my grandma because my brother burned himself so badly he had to go to hospital and nearly died. And so that was a trauma for her. And for me, I made the perception that I was not wanted. Obviously, I was not wanted. But, so I want to help you to really understand what's going on here. You know that you had this wound with your mom. You know that you're probably resenting your mom. You're not understanding her. You're angry with her. And sometimes you want to shake her because she's not understanding the way you're thinking, where you're coming from. And she might get angry herself when you're trying to tell her your story, because she is simply not able to hear you because she has had all her own problems. And the fact that you have got the problems of not feeling loved and understood and wanted, you cannot see hers. Yeah, so there's a vicious circle of people, of you and her mom, not really having your deepest wounds resolved. And the only way to really deal with this is not on the outside, it's not by treating yourself to nice things. The only way is going deep inside and finally facing that uncomfortable pain. I've just worked with a client who had exactly this wound, and for her to do this on her own was actually impossible. But she was very willing and very open, and she had already done some work on this, and so she was ready to go deeper with my help and with me guiding her. That was really helpful. So, you know, she stood in front of that pain that was so unbearable, but she also knew if she wasn't going to face it yet again, her heart would stay locked up and closed with the pain inside it, and she would feel the pain, but she would not be able to access it. So the only way to open her heart again so that she could actually let love in and feel love for herself again was to feel her pain and connect with the inner child who was still waiting there to be acknowledged, to be heard, and to be understood. And that's what we then did. And we went on a deep inner journey to find a time in her life where she actually felt a little bit of love, because she hadn't felt it all her life. And it was so interesting that she actually connected with her grandma in soul form, who she'd never met, but she knew that her grandma had unconditional love for her. And feeling that love from her grandma opened her heart a little bit. It was the beginning. It was the little slither, you know, the little window opening that she needed in order to break this pattern. We always need love, truth, you know, looking at what we're actually believing. Is that truth? Is that really true? And or light, you know, higher consciousness. With those three pillars, with those three, say, ingredients, we could always heal ourselves. Okay, so we used the tool of unconditional love. And then her inner child, you know, needed other things. She needed to connect with her mom. She needed to talk with her mom. She needed to tell her mom certain things. And on this inner journey, my client was able to give her inner child exactly what she needed from her mom all this time. And by doing that, only in energetic form, yeah, it's all visualized really, but felt in a real way. By doing that, she was opening her heart to her mum, and by doing that, she could again open her heart, and then she actually had understanding for her mum, why she was that way she was, why she was even ill. And with her own compassion towards her mum, she was then able to overcome her resentment and her anger towards her mom. That also closed her heart and made communicating between the two very difficult, and the relationship difficult and tiring and hard work and unsatisfying. Yeah? But by doing that, opening her heart to her mom, letting go of the resentment and the judgment and the anger, she was then willing to work with her mom, who had a lot of fear and always stopped her as a child to climb on trees and to stomp in the mud and get dirty and wet. And now her mom was allowing her to do that, expressing herself, you know, being the way she wanted to be. And just by able to do that, her inner child felt fine. She felt heard and she felt able to be herself. And, you know, going onto that inner healing journey then really opened her heart for good. You know, her inner child was satisfied. Her inner child felt understood and heard and accepted. And therefore, she was not closing her heart again. And then, you know, at the end of the journey, we always integrate the inner child into the heart, into your heart, my client's heart, to stay there with her so she could be guided by the inner child, because the inner child is actually like a jewel, you know. She holds all our talents and our characteristics, our, you know, love for certain things, joy for certain things. She has life essence in her that we as adults need in order to be our true selves and not just do what everybody else is doing. Our inner child holds the key for our uniqueness. And so she needs to be retrieved from deep down, you know. And very often our inner child is locked away. She's still waiting, kind of frozen in time, waiting for our attention, for our love, for our understanding, for our compassion. and for giving her what she needed all along. And when we actually do that, that's when we resolve this childhood wound. And this is what I love helping you with. This is what I find again and again is the cause, you know, of so many problems, that the love between mum and daughter, sometimes between dad and daughter, isn't flowing. And because it isn't flowing, then it carries over into your relationships, and you have problems with your partner, or you have problems with other people in your life, friends, maybe clients, maybe siblings. And the biggest problem though always is with a relationship with yourself, because if you are not able to feel a love connection, a love flowing between your mom and your parents, you're also not going to feel the love for yourself. Because as babies and little children, we always make it mean that we are wrong in some ways. There's something not right with us, we are not good enough, we are not lovable, we are not wanted. And when we feel that way, we cannot open our hearts to ourselves and to anybody else. So the key is to heal our wounds with our parents, and that will then heal the wound to ourselves. And when the heart is open, you're going to feel lighter, you're going to feel taller, stronger, more confident. You're going to feel your own love, maybe for the very first time. And my client was just, whoa. I mean, she shed all her tears, and she felt the open heart, and just that feeling is just indescribable. But that is what you're really looking for when you are overeating, overworking, or over shopping. And it's really, really important to become aware of the fact that you are really looking for love, which is, something we always need and we always wanted. So by being able to actually reconnect with your own love, and then you're also reconnecting with your own peace and with your own joy, and the feeling of loneliness or feeling separate or shut away or alone is also disappearing, because you have reconnected with the stream of love that's in your heart by opening your heart. So having an open heart is vitally important. And it's actually a pain that humanity is carrying. Most of people are having a closed heart because they don't want to deal with their pain. And when they don't want to deal with their pain, their heart stays closed. And the pain is behind there, deep down in the heart, sending out its energy all the time, but it stays unresolved. Okay, so I hope this helped you. Just checking. So it's very, very important that you are actually also able to see then that it's not just you as a little child needing your love from your mom. Your mom actually also needed your love. It's always a two-way street. It's never that the child was just in need and she never got what she needed and her parents were bad parents, and if only they had been better parents, you would have never felt the way you felt. No, it is actually always a two-way street, because you are love. When you come in, you are always love, yeah, already. You are light and love, and you've got everything you need, really. But your soul is deciding and even choosing to have an experience of lack of bondage between your mom and yourself. This was my client's really life journey or life lesson to overcome. And it's very, great that she found this way of now reconnecting with herself, and she's in her 40s, and so it took me like a decade longer to get there. And so the sooner we get there, the sooner we will be able to step into our own soul purpose, which is always shining our light and radiating out our own love. But we need to heal the unresolved inner child problem. And yes, this is what I love helping you with. If this rings a bell, let me know. You can always connect with me, leave me a comment if you like. And if you've got any questions, I'd love to hear from you. Okay, have a beautiful remaining day. Until next time. Bye for now.